How's it going, everybody? I'm Driftwood. We're going to narrate Yanfly's Let's Make a Game comic. I asked him if this was cool. He said go for it. So we're going to try to do it and not mess it up, but I'll probably mess it up at some point. Anyway, I'm going to put a link in the description below to where you can go check this out on your own if you don't want to hear me narrate it and you would just like to read it yourself. Totally cool. Also, I'll put a link in the description to the video that Yanfly made for this as soon as I find it, and that'll be in the description. But if you would like to hear me narrate it, let's get started. So this is the story of Ralph's game, and Yanfly and Flying Dream are going to help him get his game built. So he's been having trouble. You know, he's got the blues about creating a game. He's been working on it for a while, but he feels like he's not getting anywhere. So Act 1 here at the beginning, Game Dev Blues, starts with Ralph working on his game, and then Flying Dream comes in and to the scene. What's wrong, Ralph? Oh, hi, Flying Dream. Didn't see you there. It's unlike you to sigh like that. Something the matter? Well, you know that game I'm working on? I feel like I'm never going to finish it. What? But you're always working on it. Yes, I've been working on it for the past 5 years. It's been that long? Progress of the 5 years. Ralph, the hero of RPG Maker VX, is in gloom. Well, 5 years is a very long time. This guy's been working on it for 5 years. This is Flying Dream, RPG Maker MV support. So, how much of your game did you make in 5 years? 10%. Only 10%? So it's important to set a realistic goal. Please don't yell at me like that. Oh God, I told you. So, Flying Dream goes to Yanfly and explains the situation. Maybe Yanfly, RPG Maker scripter, will be able to help Ralph with his game. So she goes to explain. And that is why Ralph is feeling down. I see. Yeah, he's not gonna make it like that. I know, people say that slow and steady wins the race, but by the rate he's going, the game will take 50 years to be completed. I'm afraid to say that out loud near him. He'll probably break down. Let's just hope Ralph adjusts his objective to something a bit more realistic. Okay, new goal. Release the game before Half-Life 3 comes out. Which is probably never going to happen, so I think that's a realistic goal there. The truth hurts. Ralph, I think it's time you try a different approach. You've been doing the same thing for 5 years and made very little progress. I don't want to sound mean, but it clearly isn't working for you. Ah, that was really mean. So a common game making process. And so, here I am, Yanfly. I need your help. I see. I'll be glad to help you. But before we start, can you tell me how you've been making your game? I need to know what you're doing to see if you're on the right track. I just kind of make it up as I go along. Huh? That is the worst possible way to make a game. This is going to be a challenge. So, it's important to set a strong foundation when you're making a game. Ralph, when you finish making a part of your game, you almost never touch it again, right? Right? Well, no wonder what you're doing is trying to build a house from one end to the other. What you should be doing instead is trying to build a house from the foundation and then expanding upon that. But I'm trying to build a game, not a house, Yanfly. This is going to take a while. So sometimes you have to start over and go slow. It might be better to teach you by doing things together. First, let's make a new project. Alright. 3 minutes later. 30 minutes later. What's taking you so long? I can't think of a title. Are you for real? So, you don't have to finalize your names right off the beginning. You could put placeholder names. So let's not spend so much time on a title. Titles can be changed later after you figure out what your game's going to be about. I see. For now, just write something in there so we can move forward. Oh, I know! Yanfly told me to put a title here for now. Good enough? Are you mocking me? First things first. One of the first things I do after I create a new project is to create 5 specific maps. For now, name those 5 maps as such: Debug Room, a to-do map, Work in Progress, Finish maps, and Cutscenes. Wait, we're not going to make a super detailed intro first? Aw, no. Then, what about the world map? No. Well, what about we install some plugins? No. Game making goals. Hi Yanfly, I was wondering, wouldn't it make sense to make the intro of the game first since it's the start of the game? Well, it is true the intro is the first thing the player sees. It's not necessarily the first thing that game devs should make. Instead, you should figure out what kind of game and goals you're trying to achieve with this project. A 100-hour game with multiple endings and tons of secret characters and 5 maps. I've been wondering why those 5 maps in particular, Yanfly. Well, they're mostly used as folders, actually. For the debug room, we will use it to test various things and take us to various parts of the game. The to-do and work in progress maps are used to store the maps that need to be made or are currently being worked on. And when we're done with those maps, we move them to the finish maps or cutscenes. You keep them separate? I dislike making cutscenes on playable maps. Story follows game structure. One of the things most RPG Maker devs get mixed up is that they make their game structure follow the story. Instead, it should be the other way around. Let the story follow the game structure. So, for now, you should figure out the core game structure first before making your story and intro. Can't we just use my old game's intro? It's super flashy. Were you even listening? Story follows game structure. One of the more common JRPG game structures is to move the player forward through the order of town, story, dungeon, and boss in a cycle. So we have a town, story, dungeon, boss, and that's the first chapter. And then you can repeat that sequence for a basic structure. Let's use that structure for our game. Let's go to the to-do map and create submaps for towns and dungeons. We'll make each town an empty map with a filler NPC that represents the story element. And we'll make each dungeon an empty map with a filler NPC that represents the boss element. But I already made a bunch of towns. Let's use those. Ralph, I said empty maps for a reason. He really wants us to use his stuff. To the point. For each town, we'll make the game progress forward like this. The heroes start here. They talk to an NPC for the key. They use the key to enter the dungeon. For each dungeon, we'll make the game progress forward like this. The heroes enter the dungeon. The heroes fight the boss. And the heroes will go to the next town. That seems super linear. That's right. Reminds me of Final Fantasy 13. Hallway 13. We're going to avoid making side quest mini-games and the like, since that's how people get stuck doing one part of their game forever. So what Ralph did then? Filler cutscenes. Let's make 2 more filler maps, the intro and ending maps. This will be our intro. Once upon a time, there was an intro. This will be our ending, and everybody lived happily ever after the end. Hey, I know, you don't want to use the intro I made, but what about my ending? He doesn't get the point of filler maps. The whole game. Now that the game structure is made, let's take a look at it. We've got an intro at the beginning, and then we've got a cycle that goes town, story, dungeon, boss, as many times as you want to create different acts in the game. And then after the last boss, you'll have your ending, from the start to the finish. So you read it just like that. Isn't that the whole game? Wow. In just 10 minutes, you've made what Ralph couldn't in 5 years. It's kind of brutal. Even though it takes about 3 minutes to play through it all, it's kind of amazing. It boggles my mind how almost all JRPGs use this kind of foundation. There may be some variations here and there, but the main idea is still the same. But the 5 years I've spent on mine is amazing too. It's a different kind of amazing. He really doesn't like to lose. It is amazing. And that's it for today's lesson. Woo! Well, what I hope you've managed to learn is to first create the basic structure of your game project. And once that is done, we will start fleshing out the other parts of the game. We do that with plugins, right? No. Surreal. It feels a bit surreal to know I've been making a game wrong all these years. It's not a matter of right or wrong, but a case of how to go about game making efficiently. Maybe now you can actually finish a game, Ralph. Out with the old, in with the new. I guess I better approach things in a different way. I'm gonna miss working on my old project though. But it's time I move forward. That's because one day I want to finish making a game. Enjoy. So thank you so much, Yanfly, for the amazing artwork. And I apologize for the terrible voices and stuttering and yeah, all of it. I'm sorry. But thank you for giving me permission to do this, and hopefully more people will see your comics because of it. Thank you everybody for watching. That's basically it. If you like this and you would like to see more, there are 3 more comics that we can check out, and I would be happy to narrate them poorly, but I will try my best. If you guys want it, let me know in the comments. If this gets enough likes or any people requesting it, I'll do it the next one. Thank you so much, everybody. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I've got lots of RPG Maker MV content and Game Maker Studio 2 content. And I do first impressions, so if you would like to get some feedback for your game, you want people to take a look at it, send it to me. Join the Discord, links in the description below. Also, one more time, I'll remind you guys, a link to this website and to Yanfly's video of this non-narrated version will be in the description. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.